What's up, guys? This is Scott McKay from X and Y Communications, and I got another video newsletter for you today. Now, I'm going to go ahead and confess to you that I had a beer or two before I sat down in front of this camera, because what I'm about to talk to you is a little bit edgier than what you're used to hearing from me. But that's okay, because I think it's about time for me to give you this message. It's kind of been, I don't know, rattling around in my brain here for about a year or two now, and well, you know what? Now's the time. I'm going to go ahead and just spill it on the table. Here's the deal, guys. You and I, as men, if we're honest with each other, we absolutely positively masturbate an awful lot, okay? A couple times a day when we're younger maybe, and we always are thinking about what? We're thinking about a woman. We're not thinking about baseball, right? We're not thinking about our pickup truck. We're thinking about a woman. We have a fantasy tied to the physical act of masturbation, right? It could be a woman from our distant past, It could be someone we went to school with years ago, but she's still there in our memory bank turning us on. Or, it could be a woman you saw this morning at the bank. But make no mistake, there is a fantasy and then there's a physical act, and they are intertwined with each other, probably literally in your brain, right? Well, here's the bomb I'm going to go ahead and drop on you. Women are no different than we are, okay? Now, that's not news in and of itself to probably most of you guys. Instinctively, women are very sexual, and, they buy sex toys, they have parties for sex toys. They are masturbating too. But you know what? They don't just masturbate because it feels good. They have a mental fantasy going too. And what's that mental fantasy of? Typically, it is of a guy, just like you and me, okay? It may even be you or me. Now let that sink in for a second, because that's the major takeaway from this entire video, okay? Guys go through life never ever even thinking it's even remotely possible that some woman they know or maybe haven't even met yet may be fantasizing about them sexually and acting on it physically through masturbation. Isn't that a wild thought, that a woman may be masturbating thinking about you? Yes, you. Now listen, okay? If you've never allowed yourself to accept that as being remotely possible, you lack sexual confidence. If you think it's utterly impossible that a woman would be masturbating thinking of you, then you don't see yourself as a sexually attractive man yet. That is a major hurdle guys have to get over. Now, why is this so important? Well, let me tell you what. I had a talk with Emily before I got in front of the camera, and she's behind everything I'm telling you 1,000%. Yes, women have fantasies tied to men when they're masturbating. Look, she's got lots of pretty friends, and they all say, and probably do in private, the same thing. They are talking about this stuff with each other, and behind closed doors, they're pleasuring themselves thinking about a guy. That guy could be you or me. You need to accept that. And some of you guys may have even been told that by a woman before. Have you ever actually gone on a date or two with a woman, gotten intimate with her, and had her admit to you that, yeah, you know what? Even before we actually had sex, I was sort of fantasizing about you. Now, of course, this is the core of all good phone sex. Great phone sex is even better if you haven't actually gotten naked with the person at the other end of the phone yet. And yes, it is possible. And if you don't think great phone sex is possible, well then, it all comes back down to the same problem I just addressed a couple minutes ago. You don't believe in yourself sexually. You don't have sexual confidence. Because yes, you can turn a woman on. And you can turn her on before you've had sex with her. Now listen. You're not going to walk up to a woman and tell her, hey, you know what, I jacked off thinking about you last night. Most of the women you've masturbated fantasizing about have no idea you did it. Now, if you've actually made one of those women your girlfriend, perhaps you kind of bantered with her about it and admitted it later. But until you've had a woman actually admit it to you, it probably won't sink in. And what I'm telling you is women probably won't admit it to you. Now, if you have a great woman and you have sex with her and you tell her you fantasized about her some before it actually happened in real life, she may level set with you and tell you, yeah, you know what, me too. And that'll be a very hot thing to hear from her. But it'll take a very special female personality for her to admit that to you. But don't kid yourself. It happens. It absolutely does happen. And my guess is if you're even an average guy who takes care of himself, let alone a big four man, there are women out there right now fantasizing about you. Go ahead and let that build your sexual confidence, okay? They're never going to tell you, but they're doing it. They're doing it to themselves for now. Maybe you can have a say in the matter as to where that road leads in the future, right? This is Scott McKay from X and Y Communications. Be good out there.